Hi friends, this is Mrs. Senior tuning in live for your second grade math lesson. We are just starting Module 7 and we'll be diving into Topic A. Topic A is all about problem solving with categorical data. When I think about categories, I think about things that have been sorted in a special way that help me to be more organized. So we're going to use some organization as we move through our math for this lesson. We'll be moving through lessons 1 and 2 in Module 7. Our learning goal to start off is I can sort and record data into a table using up to 4 categories. Let's take a look at some of the things we'll need for this lesson. We'll be in Module 7, Lesson 1. You will need to have your problem set 1 and 3 for Lesson 1. That can be found in your Eureka workbook. You'll also need some lined paper and a pencil. All problem sets are available for download on our course as well as found in your workbook. Here we go. So let's play a game. What am I? I have 2 wings, feathers, and I can fly. What am I? Yes, a bird. Look for the characteristics of a bird on the left side of the chart. See, you can find feathers, wings. Birds have 2 legs, they lay eggs, and they're warm-blooded. Scientists use charts like these to categorize animals. We're going to use this chart to practice that as well. Do you see the characteristics of a fish on our chart? Yes, they're all the way on the right side of the chart. A fish has scales and fins. It can lay eggs and it is cold-blooded. Well done. Let's take a look at our next animal. This little lizard has 4 legs and dry skin. He must be a reptile. I see that reptiles can lay eggs and they are also cold-blooded. What's next? Aw, a rabbit has fur and lungs. I see those characteristics in the mammal column. It can feed its young milk and it is warm-blooded. Humans, like us, we're also mammals and we fall into this category. All right, you zoologists out there, here is our task. You are studying animals at the zoo. Let's use what we know to classify each animal into a group. We're going to be looking at birds, mammals, reptiles, and fish. Take a look at all of these animals in our zoo. Boy, do we have our work cut out for us categorizing them. Let's get started. Here's my question for you. What are some ways we can organize our zoo animal information? We could move the pictures into a row with the group they belong. We could count the number of animals in each group and write the number in that row. And we could use tally marks. Which would be the best way? Well, let's record our category counts on this table using tally marks. Pause the video here and create your own animal classification chart on a piece of paper or in your math journal. When you are ready, press play and we will get right to work. You can also pause the video here to place tally marks on your chart to show how many you've found in each group. Start the video again when you are finished. Remember, you want to find the birds, the mammals, the reptiles, and the fish. And for each one that you find, you want to place a tally mark next to that animal type. Well, I was looking at the birds in our zoo and I found 4 different types. So I've tallied 4 birds on our chart. Ah, mammals. Boy, was there a lot of mammals in our zoo picture. I tallied all of them on the chart. Here come the reptiles. Did you find them all? I found 5. And finally, the fish. There were only 3 in this group. Now we can use this data to answer some questions. Does your chart look like mine? If not, update your chart now. Here are a few questions I have for you. How many categories does this table have? I see bird, mammal, reptile, fish. I count 4. How about you, zoologists? How many more birds and mammals are there than reptiles and fish? For this question, I need to do a little bit of math. When I looked at birds and mammals together, I saw that there were 4 birds and 8 mammals, and that made 12. And when I compared that to 5 reptiles and 3 fish, that made 8. To find out the difference between the two, I took the 12 birds and mammals group and subtracted them by the 8 reptile and fish, and I came up with 4. There are 4 more birds and mammals than there are reptiles and fish. Hey, how many animals did we sort all together? Count those tally marks up. What did you find? You found 20? So did I. That's a lot of zoo animals, zoologists. We're doing great. I need you to get out your problem set in Lesson 1, Problem 1. It should look just like this, and it's found in your workbook or for download. You're welcome to use a piece of paper if you don't have your workbook or a printer, and you can draw the chart on the top left of this page for no legs, 2 legs, and 4 legs. Please press start on the video when you're finished completing the task. The task is to count and categorize each picture to complete the table with tally marks. So again, find out how many animals have 2 legs, no legs, and 4 legs. Press play when you're ready to go. Great job, guys! I found that there were only 2 animals with no legs, the snail and the snake. And when I looked for animals with 2 legs, I noticed they were only birds, and there are 3 of them. So I have 3 tallies. And then last but not least, the 4-legged animals, there were 4 of them. I hope you found the same amount as I did. Great job! What are some other ways we can organize these animals? We can sort the animals by what they eat, or where they live, like their habitat, or whether they're predators or prey. Let's sort them by habitats. Let's record our data with numbers this time instead of tally marks. Pause the video and draw this chart in your math notebook or on paper. Press start when you are ready to see the animals. All right, zoologists, get ready. We're going to count each group of animals. Woodland animals are underlined in black. Water animals are underlined in yellow. Arctic animals are underlined in blue. Pause the video and press start when you have completed your chart with the numbers this time instead of tally marks. Now we can use this data to answer some questions. I hope you found the same numbers I did. 10 woodland animals, 7 animals that live in water areas, and 3 animals that live in the Arctic. How many categories does this table have? Woodland, water, Arctic? It has 3. Which category had the fewest animals? That's pretty easy. The Arctic only has 3, doesn't it? That's the fewest. But which had the most? You're right. The woodland habitat had the most animals in its section. Which recording is easier to read? The chart using tally marks for animal classification, or the chart that used numbers for animal habitats? I think the numbers were pretty easy to read. What did you think? All right, friends, we're moving into problem set number 3. And in this problem set, we're going to work on this goal. I can use category counts to solve word problems. Here we go. Turn in your student workbook to Lesson 1, Problem Set 3. If you do not have your workbook, please use paper or write the problem in your math notebook. You may be able to download this page from our course. Let's take a look. We have a chart about animal habitats, and here are the questions. A, how many animals have habitats on grasslands and wastelands? B, how many fewer animals have forest habitats than grassland habitats? C, how many more animals would need to be in the forest category to have the same number as animals in the grasslands category? And D, how many total animal habitats were used to create this table? Pause the video to answer these questions and then press play when you're ready to check your answers. Welcome back, friends. Whew, that was hard work, zoologists. Here we go. How many animals have habitats on grasslands and wetlands? Well, I had to add 2 groups together. So I noticed that there were 14 animals that lived in the grassland habitat. And there were 5 animals that lived in a wetland habitat. And I know that 14 and 5 more is, you got it, 19. And then when I went to B, how many fewer animals have forest habitats than grassland habitats? I noticed that in the forest habitat section, there were only 6 animals. but the grasslands had many more at 14. So when I looked at the difference between 14 animals and 6 animals and subtracted, I found that the difference was 8. There were 8 fewer animals in the forest habitat. How many more animals would need to be in the forest category to have the same number of animals in the grassland category? Well, I noticed that there were 6 animals in the forest category and the grassland had 14. So I think to make up the difference, it would be 8. How many total animal habitats were used to create this table? Yep, you got it. There were definitely 3. Forest, wetland, and grassland. We're going to move into our next learning goal. I can draw and label a pictograph to represent data with up to 4 categories. We'll take all that we've learned about categorizing, creating charts with tallies and numbers, and using that information to solve problems to apply it in a more visual way to display data. Let's start. The materials we'll need for this section of our lesson are the problem set 1 in lesson 2. That can be found in your Eureka workbook, or it's for download on this page. You will also need lined paper and a pencil. Let's get started. Let's use the data we've collected from our last chart. So we've got animal habitats, and we know there were 10 wetland animals, 7 water animals, and 3 Arctic animals when we were looking at our zoo. Let's make a different type of chart. With a picto chart, we have our habitats along the left side, and at the bottom, I've put each circle stands for 1 animal. That's the picture that I was talking about for the visual representation. I've chosen to use a small circle to show the number of animals in each group. You can see for Arctic, I've put 3 circles representing 3 animals that live in that habitat in our zoo. Now we can use this data to answer some questions. How many more animals live in the woodlands than in the water? There are 10 animals that live in the woodlands. There are 7 animals that live in the water. I can do some quick mental math. If I count on from 7 to 10, I come up with 3. I could also quickly look at my pictograph and see the difference in the 2 groups. My second question is this: how many fewer animals live in the Arctic than in the water? Well, we know there's just a small amount in the Arctic. There are just 3. In the water, there are 7. So again, it's just quick mental math. If I count on from 3 to 7 or look at my pictograph, I can see that there are 4 fewer animals that live in the Arctic. Great job, guys. Turn to lesson 2, problem set 1 in your student workbook. You will use the grid paper to create a picture graph using the data provided in the table. Don't forget to write the name of the category below the grid paper and write what symbol you will be using to show the count of each category. You are welcome to use the simple circle like I did. Once you have filled out the grid, press play and we will check your work. Then I will read you the questions. If you do not have your workbook, please create your chart and answer the questions on a sheet of paper. Pause the video now and press play when you are ready to go over the grid. Does your grid look similar to mine? Great job! Now we're going to use this information to answer some questions. A. How many more animals are mammals than fish? B. How many more animals are mammals and fish than birds and reptiles? C. How many fewer animals are reptiles than mammals? And D. Write and answer your own comparison question. D is kind of fun. This one you get to make up on your own that goes with this problem. Pause the video and use the chart at the top and your grid to answer the questions. When you're ready, press play and we'll go over them together. We're back. Whew. We're doing a lot of work, zoologists. Let's look at A. How many more animals are mammals than fish? I could see that there were 11 mammals. And I could also see on my grid that there were only 5 fish. When I looked at the difference of the two, I could count up the grid that there were 6 more mammals than there were fish. Did you find that too? B. How many more animals are mammals and fish than birds and reptiles? This one was pretty tricky for me and had several steps. First, I had to look at mammals and fish. I could see that there were 11 mammals and 5 fish. And together, that makes 16 mammals and fish in one group. Then I had to look at birds and reptiles. I could see that there were 6 birds and 3 reptiles. When I put those two groups together, I got 9. But to find the difference between the two, I had to take the 16 fish and mammals and the 9 birds and reptiles and subtract those two numbers. 16 minus 9, it equals 7. So how many more animals are mammals and fish? 7. There were 7 more mammals and fish than birds and reptiles. How did you do with that one? It was a lot of work. C. How many fewer animals are reptiles than mammals? Reptiles had a very small number with 3, and mammals had a large number of 11. So to find the difference between the two, I decided to subtract 11 mammals from 3 reptiles, and I came up with 8. There are 8 fewer reptiles than mammals. D is kind of fun. Everybody's question, comparison question and answer will be different. Don't forget to write that one down and submit it to your teacher. They can't wait to see what you come up with, and I can't either. Great job today, friends. You worked really hard categorizing data and using information to solve problems. I would like to hire you to work as zoologists in my zoo. Don't forget to turn in all of your work to your teacher. Your next activity today is Zern for 30 minutes. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Bye!